Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Wow, what an incredible treat I've got for you today. This is a never be filmed before, I'm so excited, I'm losing my words. Never filmed before, exclusive fallout shelter, Cold War. And that is as much as you need to know. It was built roughly in the late 60s and that's pretty much date-wise all I'm going to tell you. Can't tell you where I am and everything else. It is literally private and it is in amazing condition. I've got a few surprises for you when we're in there. One of them is literally in here, which is actually a beautiful surprise. But trust me when I say this has got to be one of the most incredible explores that I've probably done on this channel to film, because it is just unique, incredible and beautiful all in once. And I'm genuinely grateful for the owners who have allowed me this exclusive access, and we've had a really amazing time so far just exploring it without even filming it. So this is what history is about, isn't it? Just have some fun and actually explore it properly. But we're in a fallout shelter, a private one that was custom built for the owners of this household. Again, not giving too much away. And it's amazing. It really is just incredible. So, without further ado, come with me, let's explore it, because I guarantee you're not going to see anything as good as this for a really long time. So, let's do it. Come on. Well everybody, welcome back. We're in the first section of the fallout shelter and there is so much to talk about and explore that we're going to take our time a little bit because I think it's important, but we've just literally come through note that everybody, one of the entrances. There are two, and then there is an escape hatch / exit halfway through. It's a really unusual design, or a design that I'm not really familiar with. And the first thing you see is you come across some interesting, there's some lights, there's some cabling, which is obviously for the electrics. Now we sort of know that that's what's there. And then we've got our first lock-in here, huge bolted door. And obviously the idea is that you sort of shut yourself in. If I just take you around there quickly, obviously you did see that there's another one there as well. We'll have a look at that from the upper side because that's identical. Then we've got our wonderful little first power supply that we can see. Now forgive me on this everybody if this comes out, but it should be. It says 240 volt AC power distribution unit. It says supply trip on there, on and off, on both incoming, and then a supply selector on that, and then on that, trying to avoid the shadows, external, internal, and gen, which I'm assuming means generator. And then we've got some plugs here. And this is our first little port. So the idea is you would have come through here. If you needed to, potentially, it probably would have been used as some form of decontamination. There's a loo there as well, which is one of those sort of ones that we always sort of see. And then here's our sink. Now the design itself of the whole thing is cylindrical, which again isn't necessarily unusual, but it is what it is. Now here's our first really cool thing that I'm going to show you. So if I get this right, get the shadow right, and then if I just quickly just do this, because we've already tried it. There you go, running water everybody. Pretty cool. And then we've got out, which we assuming was the sump, because actually if you take this, if we take this bit of tubing here, and we placed it on top, around here, and we put it in there, then if I operated it, it actually does suck that out. That actually does work. I'll show you here like this. So if I push this down, it actually does work, and it does actually suck that water out remarkably. I'll probably show you that when we come back out again. But how cool is that? And then another door. Brilliant. So, how cool is that? I keep saying how cool is that? I do apologise everybody, but it is a really special thing, this. Right, let's head through. Right, next section. Right, everybody, so as we've entered, you can see that there is a sink, believe it or not. How cool. With some wine now, we know that the wine isn't dated to this period of time. It was actually one of the previous owners, I think, was using this as some sort of wine, which they thought that it might work by leaving it down here. Unfortunately, I don't think it did. It's actually quite well ventilated, this one, believe it or not. The only thing that we're still trying to work out at the moment are these. Now, we think they might be something electrical. Let's just sort of say that loosely. The K1s, I'm not 100% sure on those. I thought they were like some batteries or some fuses, but I'm not 100% sure. My main instinct is to say they're sort of like some fuses or electrical on that. There's a nice little plug down there as well, again. Been adapted, and then if we walk around, this is our first one. So what we've got to understand is that to get the idea of the layout on this is that we've got one chamber here, we've got a central one in the middle, we've got another one at the back, which is the beds, which we'll speak about in a minute, and then there's an exit. So really, essentially, there's two main chambers with a central escape hatch, which you'll see in a minute, and then on either side of these, which is just incredible to see in almost mint condition. Well, I'm going to say mint condition considering this came out probably in the 60s. Let's have a look at this. These are ventilators, or some sort of ventilator, it says, a filter as well. Interestingly enough, the instructions aren't actually in English, but it does say like ventilator, regulator, mostly in French, which my French has sadly lost me. Valve anti-explosion. Yeah, place the regulator, something interrupter. So and then there's filter, obviously, function of filter, contamination. There we go. I don't know if you're going to see that on the camera, everybody, but we'll try our best. But yeah, pretty much a filter. Look at this. Oh, it's amazing. So this is for all of you people out there who are obsessed with this type of thing. Lure. Probably pronouncing that totally wrong. But look at this. 15 amp, that says. Let's try and get you in. 180 or 380 volts. So forgive me, everybody, on my recording. It is one of these things we try to do our best to get what we can in. There we go. Explosions, valve anti-explosion. Look at that. So there's one here in this chamber, and then what you'll see is there's a mirrored image one of the other one on the opposite side. And like I said, this is purely just cylindrical around here. Now, what we don't know is in this one, which is totally different to the other one, is you've got some brackets. We might be for storage. They might be for something similar like that. It's very difficult to tell on this one because actually the history is almost but lost on this. So we're only using assumptions here. But the fact that pretty much all of it is pretty much here and intact, and there's a few other really interesting things that give help to this being dated. More importantly, as you probably saw right from the beginning, there's some interesting signage as well that somebody written down in there and some pen and everything. But yeah, there we go. Let's go into the next section. Come on. Ready to the next section. Welcome back, everybody. Woo! We're in the central chamber now, and it is the only bit of the actual shelter that is damp, and that is pretty much for obvious reasons, because what I'm going to show you is basically the escape, which is there. And water is slowly, well, I say slowly, it's just a common thing you get, because it's not been sealed properly. That's where the water sort of eventually come in. But the rings are actually in mint condition. I'm laughing because it is just remarkable that we've had a proper look at this already, and I'm still seeing stuff that is just completely new and exciting. So what's that say? Redland on those loops, those rungs. And this is, well, obviously the spiders have come and bless them. But you can see how thick these doors are to segregate each section. In fact, they're so thick that I can't move them as one person. Needed a bit of WD-40 on those, I think. But like I said, for its age and for the fact that it's barely been touched over time. But that, everybody, is the escape hatch or the exit. And this basically would separate the middle section now. So in essence, we're halfway through. So it's not the biggest fallout shelter, but actually it's unusualness for its design. But there's way more surprise I've got to tell you. So let me just get into a more relaxed position so I can show you. So you can imagine now both doors are open, everybody. Now, they are so, I mean, there's typical nuclear, Cold War types of doors that we've seen. You see them at Kelvedon Hatch, you see them at everything, really. I've seen them at other fallout shelters as well, these huge things. Remarkable. Right, we are going to now go into what I'd refer to as the best bit of this fallout shelter. So let's take a look, come on. Tell you what, everybody, don't necessarily get that easy when you're coming through these. But look at this. Let's talk about this next section. Come on. Wow, 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 everybody. I'm going to keep saying wow. This is just the most incredible treat I've had, and it's quite just brilliant. So this is the other vent that we were talking about, or the other filter. Forgive me on this, air purifier, we're assuming, or something similar to that. I know some of you are screaming at me saying that might be wrong, but it does say on here, look, there's some English. It says maintenance instruction. It says, clean filter after a prolonged period of operating, or if lots of dust has accumulated, loosen the two black screws and lift off the cover with the filter. Vacuum clean or tap until dust falls out. Cool, imagine those filters. It's almost the equivalent of, like, do you remember when we have our vacuum cleaners, don't we, and we try and collect all that dust? It's that sort of similar vibe, except on these would have been to actually save your life. So again, 15 amp again, really important to sort of like log this as best as possible. There we go. Another plug. And then this one, the other one was practically mint condition. This almost is, except the bag has sort of come off, but it gives you a really good indicator of, that actually says on there still at 1980 on that. I don't know if that's the expiry date or date of test. There you go, 11/1980 on that. There we go. I don't claim to be the world's most expert on these types of this period of history, even though, as some of you well know, or maybe you didn't know, my dad was actually stationed in Western Germany during the Cold War. This is the other thing, you see. So I'm going to show you, take our time on this. There's a curtain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here. And then there's a wonderful curtain that goes right across. Look at that. Can you believe that is still there? Look at that. I might actually leave that up just for a little bit of a interesting thing to sort of do. Plastic little rungs on that as well. So you can see that actually they've held up pretty well over time. Except for I've just put my hand in a spider's web. But look, if I turn it around, look at that. And then, everybody, if I grab my torch, the main bit, the beds. Now, each bed, as we've had a look already before we filmed, has got these magnetic, it does say magnetic lights on them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you briefly. This is one that's been detached. I'm assuming that's the magnet on the back, but if you open it up, there is a little windy wire which basically winds in the cabling, from what I'm assuming. If you look at it, barely, just like a fishing line pretty much. But that in essence should be a magnet. And then each bed has got, if you can see, some wiring that basically attaches to those mag lights or magnetic lights. And some of them, I'm not sure, to be honest, this is almost untouched, so it's amazing to see. This is still there. So you've got these, look, this is attached to the light. Obviously this is off use. You could take that, don't want to ruin that. It's just immaculate condition. That comes out and you get a wire. Look at that, if we turn it around, it's incredible to sort of see a modern torch compared to one of those. And this runs off solar, this one. But look at that, and I've just covered that up, look at that. So these are our beds. Now, some of these have got removable panels, which sadly now, over time, have become a little bit very well, actually fairly unstable. But the idea is that you could not only you could see the cabling that's underneath, but it also gets used for storage. And again, because of the design of this being cylindrical all the way through, it benefits from having a little bit of a loop underneath to get added storage, and also potentially easier to access when it comes to the wiring. And there's another one of our mag lights. They're all in here, you know. I think I've almost seen all of them in various stages of condition, but look at this, the actual pump heads are still here. And then we come on to this section, the far end of it, which is just as interesting. This is a table, which alternatively probably would have had two chairs opposite it. And again, I have to put my foot down on here, just be really careful, and then put up again. Thankfully, done this a few times already, so it doesn't stop me from falling in, but there you go, look at that. And then we've got something really cool here, which is some drawers labelled as cooking, stationery. What else was there? Don't think these stickers have been removed, sadly, so we don't actually know what they are, but I can safely say they work. Still after all this time. I was worried then I couldn't put that back. But yeah, look at that. They still work. Still come out. Look at that. So easy. And then there's a sink again, as we can see. And again, here we go, everybody, because I know this does as well. Look. Ready? I'm only going to do a little bit of it. What it says. Maybe not. I thought this one did. It might be the other one. Oh, no, there you go. There's a little bit of water. A little bit. But the other one does, which is around the corner. I'll show you that one. But we'll go into detail about those later. And then, this is so cool. So, no fallout shelter would be complete without some form of food and storage on this one, because it's not ever been used, and because it was, only built and pretty much left as a sort of mostly an empty shell. We have still some bachelor's cuppa soups. You've never had soup so good, it says. Look at those images. Look at that, very cool. Golden vegetable, chicken and leek, oxtail, mushroom, tomato and chicken. All the best flavours. And then really cool, I don't really want to touch any of this because I'd rather leave it just as it is for the moment. Marvel, Cadbury's Marvel, it says. Instant dried skimmed milk in a sachet. 1 cup. Well, you have plenty of cups in that, because look at that. So we've got our cup of soups, and you've got your skim milk. So not exactly the perfect diet, but again, like I said, this is never fully stocked from knowledge, and just really used as just for in case of emergency. How brilliant though. I really am I don't think when I film that it's ever going to do this as best justice as possible, but we can always try our best. So on to the next bit. Let's go. Right, on to the next section. So we're now in the final section, almost the final section, and it's still got loads of surprises, so let's check them out. Right, everybody, so we're in the final section, really, and again, there's some instructional writing on here. It says that when you come in, switch on the 12-volt supply. It's a wonderful little rudimentary diagram. And then again, wonderful little curtain rails with a nice little sort of like light there. And then we've got a toilet roll dispenser, and we've got a kitchen roll dispenser. And as we were sort of saying before, the remarkability of this, everybody, is that, yes, this tap, I'm not going to turn it on too much because we've had a lot of fun with these taps and we're all quite amazed that they work. But look, that works. There you go. And we've got our little pump there as well, which we will show you at the end of this, because I think that's pretty cool that it actually works. But we'll leave that till the last minute. And then again, another big door. And then we've got so many things to show you. And then we've got a water filter. I think it says clean the filter elements each week under running water. If you get to see that, everybody, hard to tell. Do not use soap or detergent and renew every 6 months. British Oh, I don't know what you said it. Birkenfeld, made in England. There's a wonderful little diagram. Somebody taking a drink. So I would assume that there's a filter halfway through that, like a coffee filter. I was sort of like displaying, and it sort of like reminds me of that, but just on a larger scale. You put your water through, put the filter in, and you've got your wonderful little tap there to percolate it. I would assume, and then more writing. It says, look, when you come in, switch on here. It says, and then again, there's a 12-volt supply. Before you leave, switch off here. Again, diagram only. And it says, read this. It says, do not switch off at socket outlet. And it says nothing. And then light above, a couple of switches. We know the electrics don't work in here. There'll be a mystery for like later on to try and solve where the power is actually coming from. But it does say to turn on inner light, switch on 12-volt supply switch. And again, the switch is here. Look at this. I genuinely think this is probably one of easily the best things I've seen in years, because it's practically untouched. And we can trace back really easily who owned this and who does own it. So we know the history is actually relatively great to trace. We've also noticed there's almost looks like a workbench type of board there that you can see, which is what that's on. It's quite a thick one there, with some electrical sort of cabling again coming out, obviously a sink, and then our disposable toilets, which are almost parallel to the opposite end, really, of what when we first sort of arrived, which again isn't necessarily uncommon. There you go. Right, on to our opposite exit, I do believe. And oh yeah, just before I go again, there's like what we sort of showed you before. Look at that, wonderful. Yeah, so much to look out. I really am trying to do my best here, everybody. Hopefully you can appreciate that, to document this without me getting excited and missing bits. And there's our curtain there, and the beautiful moss, which we're not going to touch on this one. So yeah, there we go. Right, let's come out. Come. Wow, okay everybody, so we're going to use this as an example of one of our doors. Well, it's weird because we're doing it from the outside in, but I can save this there, oh my word. Look at that. Oh, wow. And then you can either, obviously loads of cobwebs here, so I'm not really going to get too messy, but again, you'd be sealed in. That's it, you'd locked in. And if that happened, wow. You don't really want to see that door come in when you're in a low nuclear war, because you know that's pretty much it. You know you're sealed in then, and that's why it's so thick, and it accumulates with the walls as well, because this is just thick concrete here. And then we can also see the concrete blocks that are made up. I call them concrete blocks because they pretty much are, but they're huge concrete bricks really. And then we've got our light, and if you come here for me just a little bit, it just says outside light and inside light again for one of our switches. Again, we know that doesn't work, but it's still pretty cool to have a look at. And then again, our mystery, I still think that these are like some sort of, I don't know, those K1 things, we're still not 100% sure on. But yeah, they're all on each entrance of each one, so very cool. Right, now all I'm going to do, everybody, is take you outside. Let's do it. Right, but I'm just going to quickly show you just the outside without giving too much away, because I think it's really important that you get to check this out, so come with me. So this is our other exit, or other entrance, depending on how you see it. The only thing I just wanted to show you all was really where this cable follows, and you can actually see, again, trying to film this without giving anything away, the end of the cabling on that. The other one, and the old one that we went through, had like a little switch on it. But what we can do is we can look down and see that, unlike the opposite end, which was pretty much a vertical set of steps, this one does come out at an angle. And you can just see how this is made up of. This wonderful, thick concrete. Solid. But this is the other thing I wanted to show you on the way down. So this is really pretty much your first port of call, which is one of these heavy doors. Now you saw the other one as I was sort of walking in. Now this is jammed, as you can imagine, to see how rusty it is. But you can see that there's a light there as well, which would have illuminated the corridor. You can see this bolted, just an old-fashioned bolt really, that locks into place, and then that would have come across here into this. And it's remarkable really, because it's quite medieval in its look. But really, really cool. So I think what we're going to do now is, just to end on, we're going to do a straight shot as best as we can to go right the way through from one end to the other. And then hopefully that just gives you a really good idea of the scale. So we'll start from where we are here and then go right the way through to the other end. Let's do it. Okay everybody, so we're just going to give it one more go right the way through, no messing. There we go, we had the power supply there with the instructions. Look at that. Generator, inverter, power supply, transformer input fuse, supply. Try and get that a little bit more just in case. Amazing. Like I said, all the instructions. So we're just going to head through now. Oh wow, all in one go. So again, back through to the beds. And the floors sadly has seen better times, so we're just having to be really careful about that. And again, just looking back, I'm very conscious that by filming this, nobody else has ever filmed this before. So like, you know, trying to do the best I can for all of you out there. Hopefully you really appreciate it, like I said. I'm just going to go through. There we go. Filming all the beds. So there's about 13 or 12, hang on, let's count these again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 beds that I think we've counted, which is actually quite a lot considering. And you really get a scope of the ovalness of, or cylindrical shape of this shelter. There we go. Right, on to our next stage. If we can try and do this all in one go, that'd be brilliant. Let's do it. Oh, I suppose over time, everybody, if you got really used to this, you could actually fit through it quite well. Excuse my sort of grunting and my moaning. There we go. We're into our straight into our escape hatch or escape exit, which denominates we're right in the middle of it. And then there you go. Zurich, that says that was made in. Amazing. And then we're going to come through here. All in one go, best as possible. Oh. There we go. Way. Again. Look at that. The condition. We saw the other one on the opposite side and we've had a properly look at them. I'm just going to talk out loud, everybody, on this film just to make sure I've tried to cover as best as possible. I'm sure there's going to always be bits that I might have missed, but that's what exploring's about. We're never always going to see everything we need to see. But we can always do our best. With our taps that are amazingly working. How brilliant are those? Good memories already for some working taps. And then we walk into our other opposite section. So almost identical in each one, except the use was totally different. Now, before I go, I'm just going to show you how this works. So bear with. Okay, everybody, so as we noted, the tap was working. Cheers to breathe, I'm going to do a little bit. And then we've got this hose pipe, which actually is a hose. And then we've got this attached to it. It says out, so we're assuming it's a sump. But either way, it might not be able to pick it up. If we can, it'd be fantastic with the noise. But there you go. It's actually, well, it's doing one or the other, but you can see it operating. I've got it the wrong way. There you go. Oh, I've just pushed it back out. But I think there's probably a better way to do this, but it's actually working, which is remarkable. So there you go, good old hose, which is exactly the same as the other one. So we're almost done, everybody. Just thought I'd show you that. Let's go. Come on. Yeah, everybody, I think we've covered this fallout shelter as best we can. I think the best thing now to do is, well, let's just get out. Come on. Oh, fresh air, everybody, fresh air. Amazing though. I think all we need to do now is just say goodbye and to an amazing fallout shelter. Let's do it, come on. Well, everybody, what an amazing explore for today. One that's never been filmed before, truly unique in so many different ways. I apologise just in case that we didn't illuminate everything. Like I said, it's just one of these things that happens, isn't it? But I think we tried our best here and we tried to give as much information without obviously giving away the location. Now obviously, as you well know, this is a private place, so we've got to be as respectful as possible. And if for whatever reason you know this place, please, the owners are not, they want to keep it for their own, which is right. So let's just be respectful of that, and let's understand that this is going to be amazing. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this might get repurposed from what we've been discussing, which would be brilliant, wouldn't it? To sort of like see it back to some form of amazing shelter and quality that it really deserves, because it doesn't really need that much work, does it, really? Let's be honest. The wind's picking up, as you can hear, so probably better to go back down the bunker, isn't it? But no, on an absolutely amazing note, I will end by saying this. Thank you so much to the owners for allowing me access. We've had a really amazing time. We've just seen some incredible history with all of us there, and it's been a really great time. And that's the most important thing, isn't it? It's not just about documenting it, but it's about sharing the love with everybody that's really gone to that effort to actually not only allow me exclusive access, but for everybody just to have a nice time and a good old laugh down there, and to actually, like, we've all been learning off of each other, which is brilliant and a fantastic thing. And that's really what hopefully this channel is about, sharing those experiences and to keep that wonderful tradition of exploring alive. Well, thank you. Thank you to the owners one final time. Got to keep saying that. It's truly one of the best places I think I've ever been to in my 30 years of exploring. Let's just keep that between ourselves, everybody. I wink, wink. But yeah, it really has been a true treat. And I just sometimes surprise myself at how better things can sometimes be, and then it gets topped off by a place like this. So yeah. Anyway, in the immortal words of Phoenix History, thank you so much for coming along with me. Because history matters, and we can safely say it just really does, doesn't it? Take care, everybody. And of course, I will see you all very soon. Remember to spread the word of the channel. Much love to all of you out there. And again, massive thanks to the owners. And yeah, nuclear fallout shelter done. Massive tick. Never been touched before. Massive tick. Let's do it. Ready? Kapow. Right, everybody. I suppose it is time for me to say good night and goodbye in the customary Phoenix way. I think I'm going to have a nap on one of these beds. Not that solid though, but anyway. Good night, everybody. Take care. Ooh, long old day.